Jim Graham here for Beyond the Cage, presented by Fight Chicks. On the line, we have a special guest joining us. He is one of the members of Team DeathThrob. He is Mr. Ryan Healy. And Ryan, thanks for coming back on Beyond the Cage.
Hey, man, thanks for having me back on.
Now, it's been a while since we've had you on, so what have you been up to?
Well, you know, we've been planning another event coming up May 17th, the Professional Grappling League. Just getting ready for that. You know, we play live at it, and we got a bunch of guys, you know, walking out with our music and to our T-shirts and all that type of stuff. So we had another one of those a few months ago, so it went well. And, you know, May 17th, we got another one coming up, and Dan Severn versus Nick KG is going to be the headline. So it should be a really good card, and the main event is, you know, pretty up there having Dan Severn as the main event.
Now, I know this UFC card is until June, but both Jeremy Stephens and Myles Jury will be fighting on June 28th, the Fight Night card in San Antonio. And, of course, both Myles and Stephen come out to your music, they wear your gear and all that. So how cool is it to have them both fighting on the same night?
Yeah, you know, I actually just found out about that. You know, I was, like, tagged in a Facebook thing, and I saw that. So I was like, oh, man, this is awesome. So I'm sure now that it's set, I'm going to find out more, you know what I mean, about what's going on. But, yeah, it's super exciting to have both of them, you know, on the same card. So, you know, can't get that better than that, you know.
Now, I know for his last fight, Myles came out to your guys' music. And did Jeremy come out to your music for his last fight, or was it just Myles?
Just Myles right now. But, you know, it's like the first guy that, you know, we talked to was Jeremy. So, you know, now that we have fighters coming out and the idea is starting to branch out more, you know, hopefully we can get Jeremy to do it as well, you know.
Now, I know it's a little early for predictions, but what do you think about looking at Jeremy first, his matchup against Cub Swanson? The winner most likely maybe gets a title shot at 145.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was just so surprised. Not even surprised. The amount of power that Jeremy has at 145 is ridiculous, you know what I mean? So I definitely think, you know, he can knock anybody out in the featherweight division. So I will not be surprised. At the same time, Cub Swanson is the same way, though. He's got crazy power for the class, and you know, he could do some damage. I think it's a pretty even matchup. So it could go either way. But I don't know, man. You know, it's just Jeremy just has so much rage when he comes out. So, you know, we'll see if Cub can, you know, handle it. And if he can, he's definitely going to get knocked out.
And speaking of guys with knockout power, Abel Trujillo will be taking on Myles Jury. And this dude has all kinds of power, completely jacked at 155, but it seems as though his weakness kind of plays right into what Myles is very good at, and that kind of silky smooth and kind of slick grappling style. And you definitely have a contrast of wrestler versus striker when Abel takes on Myles.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Myles can dictate a fight. He can bring it wherever he wants. He's controlled all of his past fights. So, you know, his last fight against Diego, you know, he just controlled. He controlled. You would think for a guy like Diego to come in, you think he would overwhelm. You know, not that Myles is a newer guy on the scene at all. He's been on the Ultimate Fighter and all that stuff. But, you know, Myles came out and he was ready to go, and he controlled the night, in my opinion, you know.
Absolutely. And what did you think when, after Myles beat Diego, it came out that Diego said he had food poisoning from some bad quail he ate? Did that kind of rub you the wrong way at all?
I mean, here's how I look at it. It's like Diego, you know, is losing now to the new breed of fighters that are all coming up. So it's like, you know, it's like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, maybe he ate something weird. Maybe it really did affect him. But you would think at some extent, being out in that cage, that everything else doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, with everybody looking at you, should be able to overcome, you know, feeling weird from eating whatever he ate, a cheeseburger or whatever it was. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, Diego wants to stick around the UFC, and, you know, if he doesn't feel like he performed the best he could have, then he's going to say, you know, what maybe stopped him. So I don't really have a problem with him, you know, coming out being like, hey, you know, this, you know, upset my stomach or whatever. I think if they fought again, the same thing's going to happen. I think Myles will dictate the fight again. But, you know, it didn't bother me. I understand that, you know, he wants to stick around and he feels like he could have performed better. So, you know, that's what he said, you know, what are you going to do?
Now, on Facebook, Ryan, I saw that you competed in a NAGA tournament. For those who don't know, that's the North American Grappling Association, and you won a tournament, and I was wondering, how was that?
Oh, man, it was really cool. For the past couple months, I've kind of been like the cheerleader on the sideline for all my guys, like all the DeathThrob guys that have been competing. So, just being around fighters all the time and, training at, like we have an academy in Bridgewater called, Alex Wilkie Mixed Martial Arts. I'm always over there. So just really living this lifestyle and having all these fighters and all these good people around me. I just thought it was time to step in there and, make it happen. And things went my way and we got it done real quick and it was cool. It's like completely different than, just training at the academy. It's like special jiu-jitsu. It's super playful and, everybody's your friend. But when you're standing across from somebody at a tournament that you've never met before and you know nothing about, it's a completely different feeling, you know what I mean? And I think just training for the tournament made me better at jiu-jitsu and, I highly recommend getting in there and doing it.
Now, was this a no-gi tournament or a gi tournament?
No-gi tournament, yeah. They do both, but I pretty much just train without the gi because the school I go to, I attend all the no-gi classes, and then, I'm really close with a bunch of 10th Planet guys. So obviously they don't train with the gi, so, it just kind of worked out for me to enter the no-gi tournament.
Now, was there any, requirements for the tournament, or was it like an open weight classes? Was there any type of, you only could be a certain belt, or how was that all laid out?
Yeah, you get, I just started training, you know what I mean? I pretty much linked up with a bunch of fighters, been holding the camera for a couple months, and it was just like, all right, now I'll try it out, you know what I mean? So, they do your level, and then they do your weight. So, when you get there, you pretty much fill out, how long you've been training, and then, they weigh you, and from there, you don't really find out your opponent until he's standing across from you. It's pretty cool,
So, was this your first competition and then your first competition win?
Yeah, this is my first time ever competing, you know what I mean? I was even though it was not the highest level, I was pretty nervous, you know what I mean? Cause, I never really did anything like this. But, yeah, man, it's my first one. And, I think it made me a better player. I feel like getting ready for something like this, makes you train the hardest you can than just showing up to the gym just to learn self-defense,
Absolutely. And so with this win, you're going to retire now, right, with the one tournament victory, and you'll just live on all that glory?
Yeah, I think so, right? I'll just ride this out for a little bit longer, so that's for sure,
Now, I also saw, I think it was at the same tournament that you won, you ran into former Olympian Sarah McMahon? Yeah,
she was there, I was with my buddy, he's a pro fighter, Josh Kitty. We were together walking around and we were like, oh man, look, there's Sarah McMahon. So we went up to her and we hung out with her for a little bit and got some pictures, and she was super down to earth, you know what I mean? And it was crazy because when you see her on TV, she's super athletic and just she looks strong, and standing next to her, if you get a chance to see the picture, she looks like, she's built, you know what I mean? So it was cool. She was super friendly, you know what I mean? So it was cool.
Were there any other big stars in the world of MMA while you were there?
Let me think. Just a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys, really, you know what I mean? These NAGA and grappling events come around all the time. So, sometimes, you see some fighters walking around, and for the most part, jiu-jitsu guys. I know Matt Secor, he came off the Ultimate Fighter TV show. He's one of the referees, so he was there for people that know who that is, you know what I mean? So, smaller guys were there, bigger jiu-jitsu guys, just people in the scene,
Jim Graham talking with Ryan Healy of Team DeathThrob here on Beyond the Cage, and I know Bellator 118 is coming up here in New Jersey, and of course with you being over there in New Jersey, I was wondering if you guys had anything going on with that card this weekend. Yeah,
well, about 2 weeks ago, actually maybe 3 weeks ago, we were at Dante Rivera's gym, watching him get ready. We did a short little feature for him, which is on YouTube, so if you get a chance, just type in Dante Rivera training camp on YouTube, and you'll see like the DeathThrob training camp video for him. And then we went down to, where was it? Balance Studios in Philly, and Sam Lapisa, we got a feature going on for as well, and he's going to be a co-main event. And he'll be coming out at Rebel, with DeathThrob on his short and his T-shirt. And, we did a feature for him. And, we'll be at his after party. I think it's at, like, the Irish Pub in Atlantic City. And it's this Friday night. And, watching both guys. Dante looks super prepared. And, I got to spend even more time with Sam. And Sam looks just mean right now. He's ready to rock. So, I think both fights, will go the way that we want them to go, and we're super excited just to hang out and see it go down.
So I guess when Andrei Korzhikov called up with the flu a couple weeks ago, and I kind of allowed Sam to fight in New Jersey, it kind of ended up working out for you guys. Oh yeah, absolutely.
We were over at Ricardo Almeida's Jiu-Jitsu a few weeks ago, and Sam was there. And, because of, like, working with Miles, he came up to us and was like, oh, I know Miles, cool. And we were like, hey, man, like, I know you got, your Bellator fight coming up. If you want to get any coverage on it and whatnot, we'll come down to the school. And, we came down and hung out, and it worked out. He's a really cool guy. He wants to win so bad. If you get a chance to watch the feature, you can just see that, you didn't even need to edit it because everything he was saying was just so from the heart. And it was just it was really an honor to hang out with him and see a guy like that get ready for such a big fight.
Now, of course, you mentioned earlier about the Pro Grappling League. They'll be holding their 7th event coming up here on May 17th. You kind of mentioned Dan Severn in the main event. And for our listeners who maybe don't know about the PGL, can you kind of explain a little bit about it for us?
Definitely. Basically it's off the model of MMA. If you go to a lot of jiu-jitsu grappling tournaments, there's a million mats going on at once, and it's hectic. So the PGL is it's a professional grappling league, and it's like you know who you're facing, so there's the walkout and all of that, and it's done in a ring, and it's like submissions, and it's basically just like a grappling match, but it's set up more like a cage fight. So there's a little more hype going into it. You know who you're fighting. There's a crowd, and like it's like going to an MMA cage fight, but instead it's grappling. And I think it's really cool. You know what I mean? Like, we play at it live, so we try to keep as much energy in the crowd as possible, and they pull a lot of big names in it. I think Gary Tonnen's competing. He's like a world class champion, but he definitely did the last one. So they pull in a lot of good guys to be doing it, like world champions, and we're going to be flying in Ryan Fortin from 10th Planet Vista for it. So he's a brown belt under Eddie Bravo, so he's going to be coming in, repping DeathThrob, and he's got a really tough fight. He's going against a guy from Matt Sarah BJJ named James Gonzalez, which we met at Grappler's Quest a few weeks ago. Really talented. And I think it's going to be an awesome fight, but we'll be flying in Ryan Fortin from Vista to compete. So, we just got a lot of guys rocking DeathThrob, coming out to the music and whatnot. And, it's just a cool chance for us to play our music to the crowd and see a lot of guys, supporting what we're doing.
Now, earlier you mentioned that Dan Severn will be main event. How cool is it to see a guy, one of the legends of the sport, competing here at the PGL?
Oh, it's fantastic. You know what I mean? It's going to be a true honor to have him just like in the house, I talked to Nick Kajia, is the guy that he's going to be fighting. We were at the ADCC in Queens, New York a few weeks ago, and I got a chance to catch up with Nick Kajia, and he's training super hard. I think this is like a dream come true for him to go against a guy that he grew up watching on TV and all that. So I think Dan Severn's the man. He's coming in, but Nick Kajia wants to win so bad. Like, that's like a dream come true to beat a UFC legend. So I think there's a lot of hype going into it, and it's going to be a great fight.
Now, do you have anyone else competing on the card? You kind of mentioned you're flying the guy in from California there. Is anyone else fighting on that
Yeah, we got a bunch of guys. I don't want to like leave anybody out, so I'm not going to drop everybody, but I will drop Kevin Reed from Ted Planet Bethlehem. He's going to be competing. He's like one of the biggest names like for us that we work with the DeathThrob. Like he's always helping us out. He's always around doing stuff. Like if you go to a grappling event and you see like a DeathThrob kid with a camera, it's probably Kevin Reed. So big shout out to Kevin Reed. He's going to be in there. And, he gets the job done fast. He's got a crazy leg lock game. I've been traveling around with him for the past, couple months, and he's just been taking guys out left and right. Like, he's a monster on the ground. And, so big shout out to Kev. I know he's going to get it done. And, we got a few other guys. I just don't want to drop everybody just because I don't want to miss anybody. You know what I mean?
Some of the guys you mentioned are a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, and obviously you've done some jiu-jitsu. Is there any aspirations either for you or some of these other, guys who've strictly done jiu-jitsu to turn MMA, or they just simply like doing the jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, now getting deeper in it, I feel like a lot of people kind of get in the jiu-jitsu game to get into MMA. We'll talk about Kev, for example. I know that he has plans to get into the cage in the next few years. He just wants to do it smart. So he has his purple belt now in jiu-jitsu, and, he's running through the expert division. He's beating black belt. He's beating brown belts. So, at the amateur level, when he gets into the cage, he's going to be so prepared on the ground. It's going to be ridiculous, So I think for upcoming, amateur fighters, it's super important to get that ground game, in your pocket, because especially with the amateurs, the rules are different. So, sometimes you can't hit on the ground, and it turned into a jiu-jitsu match in some of these amateur cage fights. So, the rules change a little bit, and having a lot of people in my life right now, like Josh Key, which is another pro fighter. He's always talking about, building up that amateur career. So, you want to build confidence, you want to get a lot of experience, and I think even just starting off your amateur career, you should have a good jiu-jitsu game, you know what I mean? And now that everybody knows about jiu-jitsu, it's so crucial to have,
Just looking at jiu-jitsu real quick, this past weekend at UFC 172, we had a couple of pretty slick submissions. We had Jim Miller, of course, New Jersey guy, with that guillotine choke. He made Yancy Medeiros pass out, and then you had Max Holloway, third round. He was able to come out and pull out a submission, and then you had Luke Rockhold, started with the inverted triangle, and then switched to the Kimura. I mean, you talk about jiu-jitsu. UFC 172, I think it was a very nice display of jiu-jitsu with submissions.
Yeah, no, it was. Jim Miller got it done. We had the 125 or Joseph Benavidez. He got it done real quick. I mean, and what was the guy's name? Tim Elliott, was it? Tim Elliott, I think.
Yeah, that's who he beat.
He came out crazy. The pace was so intense. He put him in some bad positions at first, and you know what I mean? Like, just like he got that. I think it was a guillotine, finished it. And then the Luke Rockhold fight, that was quick, man. He got that, I guess it was an inverted triangle, and just held on to it for a little bit, and then, switched into what was it, the Kimura, and, got it done. It just shows you like that, these fights could be, it's always awesome to knock people out, but, you can end these fights just as quick with a submission, you know what I mean? And so it's definitely a part of the game that you have to have down, man, because if somebody else has like a better submission game, the fight will go to the ground. So, it's part of it now.
I think I saw a post, I don't know if it was on your Facebook or your brother's, but it looked like you guys were starting to do some new music. Yeah,
so, we put our first record out, all about training mixed martial arts about, a year and a half ago, and now we have a new EP coming out. It's probably going to be about 5 to 6 songs. We've been in the studio, Day Record Studios in Hillsborough, finishing it up, and, it should be out. We're really shooting to get it out before the PGL because, that's just a good chance to get the record out, but, that's the game plan. I'm not going to say it's definitely going to be out by then, but that is the game plan, is to have it there that night. So hopefully we can get it done. But, it's kind of in the same direction. It's like we've been recording there for the past couple weeks, and just it's just heavy, yet keeping it still easy to listen to. So I'm super excited to get it out, get a new record out, and if you guys get a chance, please pick it up.
Now, will it be available on like iTunes or your website?
Yeah, it will be like on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And hopefully we'll see you guys over at an MMA event or something. I can personally hand give it to you.
Well, that would be awesome. Hopefully I can get something out closer to you guys, or maybe we can meet in the middle somewhere, maybe like Pennsylvania or something. So
absolutely, man.
Once again, he is Ryan Healy of Team DeathThrob. You can follow them on Twitter at Team DeathThrob, like them on Facebook, facebook.com/DeathThrob, and of course subscribe to their YouTube channel, youtube.com/DeathThrob. So Ryan, thanks for coming back on and giving us the time, and hope Pro Grappling League number 7 on the 17th of May in Berlin, New Jersey goes well for you.
Thank you so much, guys. Always a pleasure to be on the show.
Once again, that was Ryan Healy of Team DeathThrob right here on Beyond the Cage, presented by Fight Chicks.